Sarajevo is a play currently staged at the theatre on the square, and it runs up until today. It's written by Aimée Mica Komorowsky, directed by Thorsten Wedekind, and the production looks at how war can destroy friendships and explores also what happens when neighbours become enemies and memories are also contested. And perhaps to share a little bit more about the production, we are going to be joined by the producer, Youdeshan Padayachy. Youdeshan, good morning. Thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're going to take us back on a trip down memory lane, because obviously we know the role of Sarajevo, the concept of East meeting West, right? And we're looking at the role that it plays in terms of identity, memory, resilience as well. A brief synopsis of the play. It's been lauded. Tell us a little bit more.
Okay, so basically, the play is about friendship and the effect of war on obviously on friendship, and you know it shows of the three really close friends.
Yes.
And how it transitions from best of friends to worst of enemies. And you know, it's a story that needs to be told now, is because they're telling their story, a story of the people affected by the war.
Yeah.
So.
And it's heartbreaking, of course. I'm even thinking about wars that are still happening in this modern day and age, and how you can adapt what has happened there, perhaps, and apply it to the crisis, the humanitarian crisis, but also just the disastrous effects of war. Can you draw parallels on that front?
So, you know, like, I mean, nobody's telling the story of the people. We obviously know the story of what's been told by the media and by all of those things. Like, and you know, it doesn't show about like how neighbors can become enemies, and you know how best of friends can become the worst of enemies. So this play goes into depth about that, and you know, it relates to us as South Africans. You know, we could have gone either way, and you know, thank God for the politicians that we had that, you know, prevented us from going through to war.
Yeah, I mean, ideology comes to the fore, history, love, to your point, friendships that have been, you know, also fallen as well. But it's also about hope and resilience. How does that thing also play through all of that? So,
you know, there's two characters. We've got Alexander and Slobo, and our character Mirla, who is played by Aimée Mica Komorowsky, and. You know, it just shows like the love that she has and the hope that she has for Sarajevo to actually come out after the war, and the love that they have for each other, and it's just like how it breaks up, and yeah, it's pretty much a bit of the story.
You said you've been part of this production offline for about 14 years. So if we
for about 14 years.
Can you tell us about the evolution of it, and perhaps, you know, some of the challenges that would have been incurred, how you've also improved and refined it along the way as you continue?
Yes, so like, I mean, in the initial play, it was, you know, I think we saw it was very one-sided. So we were only telling one side of the story. Okay. And, you know, like Aimée's an unbelievable writer, and we obviously had to listen to what people were saying to us, and it's evolved now to a point where it's a play telling both sides of the story. Okay. So it's not just very one-sided. It's you're getting both sides of the story, and people can relate to it. So it's not just the Bosnian side or the Serbian side. It's everybody's story.
Yeah. When you look at the recovery process and healing as well, how people emotionally react to it, what's that feedback been like, especially because it's been running now throughout this week, right?
Yes, no, it's been incredible. I mean, we've got unbelievable reviews. Okay. You know, you've got, it's very emotional, so you have some emotional highs and you have some lows, and you know, for our actors, they're bringing out so much in each other that you can see it in the audience. And you know, like from what we've taken back from the audience, it's incredible. People are loving the play. It's touching them emotionally. So, you know, it's that whole love being broken down into hatred for each other. But, you know,
also the strength of the human spirit, right?
Correct, 100%. And if you see our character Mirla, she's one of the strongest characters I've seen in theatre. So. Yeah,
and it also shows strength doesn't just become about brute and might. It's also about that strength of the human spirit as well, 100%. Right? To endure. In terms of how it's changed you, obviously we always look back in hindsight and we learn from history, or do we learn from history because we see these things playing out? But how has it forever changed you as well, your perspective on humanity and perhaps the state of our world at this point?
Well, you know, when you're growing up, you don't that's what I'm saying. We were lucky in South Africa that we transitioned the way we did. Because you growing up, you don't know that there was the war happening, across the world at the same time. And how it's changed me is like to look at things differently, to listen to people's stories. People are going through many different things. So, the way they do things is obviously for some reason. So it's good to listen to everybody's story. So for me, it's changed me from being, what can I say, spoiled to actually, understanding what people are going through.
Okay, you've garnered more empathy and sympathy for,
Yes, correct.
for the world at large.
And like psychologically, I mean, we've got a guest coming through tonight. They're going to do a Q&A after our 5 p.m. show, and it's just to like how the war is playing on people's minds. I mean, we've got Ivan who experienced the war.
Sure.
So
that brings us into question or into focus the power of memory and collective memory,
Yes.
and how we should, lest we never forget, right? How important is that, especially when it comes to the framing of stories these days as well?
I think it's very important not to forget these type of things. Everything can be lost. I mean, like I said, we didn't even know about the war. Now we're telling a story that people can relate to that didn't know about the war. So, making sure that these people's stories are always told, because it was an atrocity that happened, and I think it's very powerful to keep telling these stories.
What do you think the city of what do you think Sarajevo represents symbolically now for the world at this juncture as well? If we're looking at what's happening in the Sahel region, we're looking at what's happening in Gaza, if we're looking at what's happening in South America, even the USA now.
No, correct. So, I mean, symbolically, it's war doesn't solve anything. Like Sarajevo is obviously a symbol of what hatred becomes.
Yes.
And like we've got so many things in history that we could be learning from, but we still carry on doing the same things. So history just keeps repeating itself.
Yeah.
So that's why telling these stories is so important.
Yeah, World War I was followed by World War II, was followed by the Cold War, proxy wars. 100%. We're seeing it still playing out. Thank you for being part of the story and providing hope. Thank you for also the work that you continue to do.
Thank you,
I know emotionally it takes a lot as well, but you're helping the world heal at large.
Yes, well, we're trying to, but
Sarajevo, of course, is a play about love. You heard it's about friendships, about war that tried to raise a friendship. And this morning, Youdeshan Padayachy is a producer on the play, talking to us about the run they've had this whole week. It culminates today, but perhaps just the importance of this in the greater scheme of collective memory and healing at large. Again, thank you to him for joining us at this hour.